You're listening to Inside Real Estate with Irv Tremblay on Newstalk 980.
Welcome to the show, everyone. And sitting across from me is a man we couldn't do Inside Real Estate with Irv Tremblay without. It's Irv Tremblay. Welcome to the show.
Thanks, Bruce.
Well, let's get right to it. Here we are, end of October. Fall is here. Is this traditionally a slowdown period in the world of real estate? Where are we at right now in Regina?
Well, it has been for many years. Sellers and buyers think that the market always slows down and it's seasonal, and it really isn't. It's all about supply and demand. And there have been years. I think if I remember back the year 2000, we did more transactions in December than we did in April. We had a large reduction in interest rates, and we had a lot of buyers on the market in December. So it is supply and demand more so than the time of year.
So what does that mean for sellers, buyers, agents?
Well, in this fall, our biggest problem in the marketplace, if you're a seller, is the amount of competition you have. And it's been steadily growing since the summer. And most of the year we ran between 400 and 500 listings. We steadily grew to 1,600 in the Regina area, 900 in Regina proper. This month we're at about 700 to 750. The number of listings isn't as important as the number of sales. And, we've only had about 155 sales. We're just about at the end of the month. We have about 80 homes under contract. So let's say 15 or 20 more homes sell, and half of those under contract become firm. That only gets us to about 200 or 210 sales in October.
Right.
That's not very good.
No.
So 2009, we had about 255 or 260 sales in October, significantly better. I think that our market really mirrors 2007. And 2007, as I mentioned on the last show, was a fantastic year for the first 6 months. And then inventory grew, prices corrected, and we're like that now. 2007 in October, we had 210 sales. We may have that exact amount this October as well. So we are in a softer market, and so it affects buyers and sellers and agents in different ways.
So it's a bit of a softer market right now. What can turn all this around? Do you have the answer? Do you have the magic key? What is it, Irv? Come on, tell me.
Well, not everybody listens to me, but I think I think
I've experienced that as well.
Yeah, I think I have the answer.
Okay.
A couple things. In a market like this, you absolutely, if you are a seller, number one, don't put your house on the market unless you have to sell.
So if you're moving, that kind of thing, if you
transferred, bought another house, have to sell, those kinds of things, you have to sell. That's a good reason to put your home on the market. You need a sale in 30 to 60 days.
Right.
That's okay. If you're saying, I might like to build another house, this isn't the time to put your house on the market and speculate and try and get top dollar for it. You want to wait until the inventory is down to that 400 or 300 or like 2007 one day, 125 or 127. So number one way that we'll have a correction in the market is only motivated people put their house on the market. So sellers, unless you really have to sell, don't put your house on the market. If I could get the cooperation of agents, which I doubt, we could correct it as well, because the agent, and agents don't like doing this, but if agents would have a conversation before they went out on listing appointments, and this is a great question they should always ask, before I come out, I've got a couple good questions I want to ask you. Do you absolutely have to sell the property? If they say no, that agent should say, well, I'm not coming out. Because if they don't, their motivation isn't going to be strong enough, and the next question should be from the agent, and are you going to price your house to sell? So you're not going to get that correct answer from an unmotivated seller.
So why do the agents take these homes on when they know they're not going to get the top dollar that they're asking, and is it a desperation? Is it an act of just trying to keep somebody happy? What are they doing?
Agents tend to take listings for a variety of reasons, and some of them aren't good.
Yeah.
We get agents who really have trouble turning down a listing. And instead of being very upfront with the seller and communicating to them, here is the reason you're not going to sell your house at that price in this market, they will take the listing in the hopes that they can convince the seller to reduce that price after they take the listing. Well, I can tell you, and this is from, many years of experience.
A couple.
It doesn't matter what I say to an unmotivated seller regarding price, they usually won't listen to me.
Yeah.
A motivated seller will. If you do your reports on a weekly basis and tell them what's happening in the marketplace, what's beating them out, and what kind of adjustment you have to make, a motivated seller will. So agents are very poor at being really upfront in pricing when they go out. The other reason agents take listings is that aren't very saleable is that they get ad calls, they get buyer calls, and we know that most of the calls they get are from 70% of the calls they get approximately are people that have a house to sell. So they actually will get more listing leads. Now that's not being very fair to the seller,
right,
but it happens. And so there's a variety of reasons why agents will take sellers that are not truly motivated. Most agents are very poorly trained and informed as far as their costs go. It takes an agent, it costs an agent these days $1,200 to $1,500 just to take a listing.
Really?
And many of them don't understand that. And so they think that there is no cost involved in taking a listing. But to take a listing, if you're running the proper kind of real estate office, every time you take a listing will cost you $1,200 to $1,500 to $1,800.
And what does that cost? What
cost is just like a pharmaceutical company. It's research and development. It's training. It's running your office.
Of course.
If you're running the right kind of office, it's your staff. It's errors and omission insurance. It's all of those things it takes to run just like Rolco Radio, right? There's no different. And so many agents aren't trained to know that, so they don't think there's a huge cost in taking listings, and there is. So, if they were aware of that, they'd be a little more careful in taking listings. The other thing is that so often agents don't ask all the probing questions they should prior to taking a listing.
Irv Tremblay, Century 21. You're listening to Inside Real Estate with Irv Tremblay. Some excellent advice as always. And all this information can be found on Irv's website. Just a mouse click away at irvsells.ca. That's irvsells.ca, or call Irv Direct 790-3753. That's 790-3753. Turn the key, and when we come back, we're going to talk a little bit about conditional offers and if there's a good time to take a conditional offer. You're listening to Inside Real Estate with Irv Tremblay, Century 21.